and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be ranking the foundations that I have tried this past few months. Most of them are new releases, and I know a lot of you on my comments are asking me which one is better, this or that. So on this video, hopefully I can answer your questions on which one would be the best foundation for you. A little background: I have oily combination skin and I have big pores on the side of my cheeks. I also have hyperpigmentation on top of my cheeks. So I like foundations that have light to medium coverage. I like the natural looking foundation, the skin-like finish. I also like foundations that will help me blur out my pores and also would look good in photos. I usually just use foundation when I go out with my friends and family and I know that I'll be photographed with them, so it's a bonus if it looks good in photos. Shine control is also a factor, but I know I have good primers that control my oil and good finishing spray, so it's not such a big factor. But if it really doesn't control my oil or it aggravates my oil to the point that it moves a lot on my face, then I wouldn't choose that foundation. So I have 6 foundations that I'll be ranking today, and I'll be ranking them from my least favorite foundation to my favorite foundation. My least favorite foundation, I have to say, is the SHISEIDO Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting Foundation. I find that this foundation was hard to work with and it got cakey on my face as well, and it really sinks into my pores. It also didn't wear too long. I think on the 4th hour it was really thinning out on my face. So I think that for my oily textured skin, I can't really use this foundation. It just doesn't do much for my skin type. But I have a comment on my YouTube and I really want to thank this person because she gave me a lot of insight about this foundation and how it wears on her skin type. So to Allison Mandroff, thank you so much for your insight. She said that I just purchased this a week ago and she got the shade 150 and now she had the right shade 140. It's really hard to get the right shade for this because it's only available online. So I think she also had a problem choosing the shade. But she said that she loves it so much. It's so skin-like. The texture is beautiful. And if you hold up the bottle, you can see glitter in the bottle, but you can't see the glitter on your face. I turned on the flashlight on my cell phone and I'm holding, I don't know if you can get it out, but if you hold it, you can really see some glitters. That's right, if you hold it on a light, you can really see it has a little glitter on it, but she said that you wouldn't see it on your face, which is true. And I asked her how she said it because on my face it really looked cakey. She said, I have dry skin and I set it with Huda Beauty powder. She also used a hydrating moisturizer and a Laneige glowy primer, and then she sets her face with e.l.f. glowy setting spray. So I think if you have dry skin, this would work for you. You just really have to put on a very moisturizing primer. You really have to moisturize well, and then you set it with a glowy setting spray. But as Allison pointed out, she has dry skin and it really worked well for her. So if you have dry skin, maybe this would work for you, but for my oily combination skin, I don't think it will work. My second least favorite is this Dior Forever Skin Glow. This one claims to be a radiant foundation, but it wasn't too radiant on my skin. This could actually give you full coverage and it could last you up to 8 hours. What I didn't like about this foundation is that it really laid flat on my skin and it really accentuated the texture on my face. Even the tiniest bumps on the side of my cheeks, it accentuated it. So you'll see texture that you're not even aware of before. And I have to thank a viewer again for commenting this on my review on this foundation. Chris Stewart, he said, you should try the Forever Matte. It's better than this one. Also, their foundations oxidizes a lot. I am NC30. I had to buy 1.5N and it's still slightly too dark or too orange. So this foundation, I forgot the reason why I also don't like this foundation on my skin is that this is the only foundation that oxidizes on my skin, and it really turned grayish orange on my skin. So I didn't like that about this foundation. So I'm going to try the Dior Forever Matte next time. Thanks, Chris, for your input. Yes, when it comes to blurring my pores and blurring my texture, this didn't help as much. And even though it actually looks good in photos, in person, this really just laid flat on my skin and it really accentuated the textures on my skin. The third on my list is Charlotte Tilbury Skin Foundation. I don't have it with me now because I was about to exchange the shade, but I still didn't have time to go to Sephora. I don't hate the Charlotte Tilbury Skin Foundation, but I wouldn't say I super love it. It's definitely not targeted for oily skin because it is very radiant. And even though it didn't really help in blurring my pores, it didn't accentuate my pores. And what I really like about the Charlotte Tilbury foundation is that it really gave me that Korean glass skin look. And the Charlotte Tilbury foundation just really works as a good base. My cream products, my blush, my powders just really blended well on top of that foundation. It also wears beautifully on the skin. On the 8th hour, it was very thinned out. And I think that the biggest thing with that foundation is that it's a hybrid foundation. So I think that foundation is being marketed really for its skincare ingredients. It really looks radiant on the face and your face would really feel so moisturized with it on. I just don't think I needed a lot of skincare ingredients in my foundation. I'd rather have it in a real skincare than on my foundation. It's in the middle. I don't hate it, but I don't super love it. I think I could use it on days where I really want that Korean glass skin glow, but I don't think that I will be putting it in my kit or recommending it to everyone, because not everyone wants to have that very radiant skin throughout the day or every day. And it's really not targeted for oily skin because it's very radiant, although you can use an oil control primer. Just don't think that it's for everyone, and it's not a foundation for all occasions. Now off to my favorite. Now the fourth on the list is this One Size Turn Up the Base BBB cream from Patrick Star. This foundation has a learning curve. You can't really apply it with just a brush or sponge. I think that this is really better applied with your fingers because it has a very unique formula. You really have to maneuver it with your fingers. This foundation also doesn't like cream products on top of it. If you put cream products on top of this foundation, for sure it will move or you wouldn't have any more foundation. The reason why I put it on my favorite list is because it really helped in blurring my pores and it's very light on the face. I think this one has the lightest feel of all the foundations that I have tried. It also really controlled my oil. I think that this is really targeted for people with oily skin. I also like that with one pump of this foundation, you can already have medium coverage. And when it comes to wearability, it has the same coverage on the 4th hour, but on the 8th hour, it thinned out a bit. I think that this would be a good everyday foundation, especially in the summer, because of its mattifying technology and its blurring technologies. I could really see myself using this on the summer months. The fifth on the list is this Chanel Revitalizing Red Camellia foundation. I really like this foundation because of all the foundations I've tried, this is the most skin-like. It wouldn't give you a full coverage. I think it would only give you light to medium, but I really like how skin-like looking this foundation is. It's also light on the face. It also helps in blurring my pores and it really also helps in controlling my oil. So when it comes to wearability, I think that you would still have a very good coverage on the 4th hour, but on the 8th hour it would be thinned out. But even though it's thinned out, I like that it still have that veil of good looking skin on you even on the 8th hour. It also photographs well, and I just like how very natural skin looking this foundation is. Now on to my favorite favorite foundation. I'm actually torn. I have two. I have the NARS Skin Reflecting Foundation and the Makeup Forever Foundation. I chose this two because also I'm a bridal makeup artist and I appreciate foundations that looks good on camera and looks kind of airbrushed. And I think that I chose this two foundation because the bridal makeup artist in me is saying that this foundation would be good to add into one's kit. I like that both of this foundation really blurred out my pores, and I really like how well it looks on photos. The NARS Skin Light Reflecting Foundation, again, it really helped and blur my pores. It didn't control my oil too much, but it's such a good base that whatever you put in it, like say you mix it with your favorite oil control primer, it will be good. If you put a mattifying powder on top of this foundation, it will be good. It's such a good base. It's very versatile. Like even if you mix it with your cream blush, cream contour, like all of those will blend well on top of this foundation. So I like this foundation. It's very versatile. I like that it really helped in blurring my pores. It really looks good on camera, on video and photos. I remember posting a poll on Instagram because I did a review where half of my face I used the Charlotte Tilbury and the other half of my face I used this NARS foundation, and a lot of my followers there were asking what I use on my NARS side because they said that it looks very flawless, and I agree. It really looks good in person and on camera. The only thing is you really have to set this because on the 4th or 5th hour my face started to get oily, so you really have to set it with an oil primer, set it with a setting spray because it's not too wearable. It can wear up to 4 hours, but on the 8th hour it really thinned out. The Makeup Forever, this also blurred out my pores. It looks good in videos and photos. It's also waterproof, so I can recommend this to bridal makeup artists because brides always cry. But the only thing with this is that this looks good under the lenses of a camera than in person. Like this one, you can really see your pores getting really blurred in person and in camera. This one, you can still see a little of your pores in person, but in camera, it looks flawless. I'm not saying that this doesn't look good in person, but it just looks so much better on the lenses of a camera because it's a high definition foundation. It also wears well. I remember I didn't even use a setting spray with this one. I only used a powder, but it lasted me through the 8th hour. So I really appreciate that with this foundation. It's perfect for a makeup artist kit. This foundation claims to be a radiant foundation, but actually I'm kind of missing some radiance with this foundation. This foundation dries down into soft matte, but because both of them are really good base foundation, if I'm missing radiance on my face, I just add a highlighter and that would solve the problem. So again, these are my two favorite foundations as of the moment. So I hope that you find this video helpful. I hope that it helped you decide on which foundation is for you. And again, I want to thank the people that are commenting on my foundation reviews. It really helped me in deciding which one is better or which foundation should I try next. So thank you so much. And if you guys have any more questions that I didn't cover on this ranking video, just comment down below. I would love to answer all of your questions. Don't forget to also check my foundation playlist where I review high-end and drugstore foundations. Thank you so much, dolls, again for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll always be updated once a new video is out. Thank you so much again for watching. I'll see you on my next one.